So, you know, the accuracy that is needed for this to happen is equivalent to throwing a basketball from the top of the Hollywood Hills in Los Angeles all the way across the United States and have it land in a basket at the foot of the Statue of Liberty in New York City and not have it burst. It would need to pass right through the rim and hit nothing but the net. Swoosh. swoosh. Imagine that. Do you know what? I was having a hard time of it at the time. I was reading a book about the life of Neil Armstrong when I came across the Joshua trees. I was well into U2 and physics and space and that at the time. I was listening to the Joshua Tree album one night when I picked up the book. Himself wasn't well at the time and I was finding it hard to sleep. So, I picked it up and I flicked through the book and I opened a page about Armstrong flying low across Rogers Dry Lake. He was flying so low, it said in the book, about 200 pages in, that the Joshua trees were above the level of his plane when he flew across the sand. He was absolutely dedicated to flying and testing and generally risking everything all day, every day, with not one bit of a letter. The other pilots in the chase planes were amazed at how daring he was. They sort of knew that he was the one. All the bravado of their lives, that was all gone now when they saw him doing what he was doing. There was no denying it, really. I didn't know it at the time, but that was the moment when I was made head of my family. It was one of those moments of coincidence, you know what I mean? I don't know where they come from, but I've always found comfort in them. They make me smile, so they do. Smile and know that somewhere deep within me, everything will work out for the best. I got a phone call from the hospital an hour later to tell me that that was that. I had no brothers or sisters. It was only the two of us, with all the way that it was for 6 years before that. I was alone in the world. With a mountain of bills starting to swarm around me. The day of the funeral was the day I turned 18. I had a bottle of pills in my pocket and I was thinking about taking them all that night. On the day, it was very sunny, but very cold. I sat with my feet in the grave, kicking the damp mud onto his coffin. I was there, looking at the birds circling overhead and going through the options about what I was going to do with the rest of my life. I was there for a very long time. I had to tell the grave diggers to fuck off in the end. It's okay though, I used to do kung fu with one of them. So they went away and did a bit of work in the far corner of the graveyard. One of them jumped into the JCB and started doing a bit of work on another grave for later on, I suppose, after lunch. He had Daniel O'Donnell tunes blasting out of the radio. You know who he is, don't you? You're not missing much. My aunt threw out all of his CDs when she saw him in concert for the first time, moving the way that he does, you know. She wasn't a fan after that. Anyway, as I saw it then, I had two options. One of which involved nothingness. A black hole of nothingness, a space, a vacuum, a cold, dark pit, kicking and scraping at the walls of the pit on the way down, with nothing at the bottom of the pit, except obsolete nothingness. The other option was something. If I stood up, if I threw the bottle of pills into the hole, if I pit myself against the biggest idea that mankind has ever had, if I could leave the planet, if I let them know that I would go, if they let me know that I could go, then I would go. I was going to hope for hope. When I got accepted, I knew there would be no choice but going, and I've spent the last 10 years getting ready to go. The hardest job I had was the selling of our house. Actually, that's a lie. The hardest job I had was getting rid of everything we've ever owned. They're allowing me to take one thing with me when I leave. And I have to think about that one for a very long time. They're going to give it to me, and I'm going to take it. It's the most important thing I have ever known. But I can't tell you what it is. What I will tell you is this, that you don't need to worry about any of your bills for the rest of your life. I've taken care of that for you. On the day of the old fellow's funeral, I took the communion wafer off the priest, and instead of throwing it into my mouth, I put it in this old tobacco tin that I had in my pocket. I was just done with the whole Mary and her blessed fucking virginity and all that bollocks. But I still have it in the tin. My pals have a running joke about it. My skins, my filters, any old bit of Thomond Park grass and that I have at the time, and my body of Christ. I think that will be my first meal when I get over there. A bit of it anyways. I'll have to put it between my lips before I put on the suit. You have to plan all of these things from now on, so they keep saying. Everything is different from here on out. And I'll go out for a walk, and I look at the stars, and I look back across at the earth, at all of you who are still here. You know something? I wonder, will I miss it? I guess I've got no option but to go over there and find out. Benedin ledin nizachin. Çok. Teşekkürler. Thank you very much for listening to me.